appeared on a podcast. All right. And y'all will be surprised. I need y'all to we gotta focus, y'all. And let me tell y'all why we gotta focus. Cause I crossed over 1 million subscribers, right? I crossed over 1 million subscribers, and it is a feat unlike any other. But let me tell you something, bro. Every single day, I find a different platform or a different podcast that I've never heard of before. This one just so happened to be the Anti-Cult Club, which I never heard of before, right? And these people be having a million subscribers like that. Two white women just have 1 million subscribers. It'd be some random nerd black man. He got 1 million subscribers, 2 million, 3 million subscribers. We so busy fighting that we not even paying attention to what's really happening out here. These chicks got 1.3 million subscribers and they be running up the bag. They be having all kind of junk going on. And y'all be so mad and be worried about whether or not one person made it. Oh man, I can't believe them. Crabs in a barrel. Let's pull them back down. These people be having an M like they don't even be thinking about it. They don't even be tripping. Politicians can't wait to go on people's platforms that got a little bit of motion. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just blows my mind the amount of people that's silently out here getting the money. And y'all be so worried about hating on different people that just so happen to be in the same space that you in. But neither here nor there. Around the 28-minute mark, they start getting into asking him questions about his credibility, about Democrats, and whether or not they actually agree with Trump or not. And so what I've determined after watching this, and look at them, they frumpy, they older. And to be honest with you, I don't know who they are. Jennifer Welch and Angie Pumps Sullivan. Just some regular white women that just got a ton of subscribers. And now they got Cory Booker on there explaining himself. Anyways, they seem to be very, very liberal. And of course, I told y'all in the beginning of the show that we was going to be focusing on the liberal mindset. And so this was some of the conversations and the questions that they had for Cory Booker. I'm going to go a little bit before the mark where they start to ask him about the type of money that he takes.
And you're one of them that's kind of been disappointing to me. Well,
there's a lot to do and time is of the essence.
Well, we want to talk to you about, the country. And it feels like the Democratic opposition is just not getting it. There are votes that you've made that were heartbreaking to me, like the vote for Kushner. That really pissed me off because I feel like this administration, it's not, are they fascist? They are fascist. It's not, we're on the precipice of fascism. We have Pritzker, Texas is sending troops to Illinois. And I feel like the opposition needs to be fuck no across the board. We're not giving you a centimeter. And I think there's been a lot of capitulation. I think there's been a lot of Neville Chamberlain type appeasement from Democratic leadership. And you're one of them that's kind of been disappointing to me because we podcasted before. They're serious about Project 2025. They're going to do all this shit. And they're doing every single bit of it. So what do you think? What do you have to say about the capitulation that you've participated in and where the Democratic Party is right now?
Well, first of all, I would say very pointedly that one of the things I dislike about the Democratic Party is that we do a circular firing squad all the time. Their party, they disagree. There's wild disagreements in the Republican tent, and yet they don't shoot at each other. And we have a really good way of holding up these purity tests that if I agree with you on 95...
That's such bullshit. That is such bullshit. They fire at each other all the time. Trump has sent so many people out to pasture, so many people that he calls rhinos. Liz Cheney can tell you that they have the firing squad as well. It's not all that.
One of the things I dislike about the Democratic Party is that we do a circular firing squad all the time. Their party, they disagree. There's wild disagreements in the Republican tent, and yet they don't shoot at each other. And we have a really good way of holding up these purity tests that if I agree with you on 95.
That's such bullshit. That is such bullshit. They fire at each other all the time. Trump has sent so many people out to pasture, so many people that he calls rhinos. Liz Cheney can tell you that they have the firing squad as well. It's not a purity test. It's are we in this fight, and are we being beholden to corporations?
Terrell says, yo, I like this. I actually like it also. Because I haven't seen politicians be held accountable by their left counterparts. And this is probably why they have visibility. Remember when I was telling y'all on certain platforms and in the Patreon, we had this conversation at length. And I was telling y'all content creators that you have to take a side and take a position. The people in the middle get rolled over. Now, there's going to be people that hate them and people that call them left and liberals and all of this stuff. But guess what they are? They are very popular. They are very visible. And if you're not generating a reaction from people by being authentic and taking a side, you are going to get lost in the sauce. And everybody is so busy trying to be careful about what they say because they're worried about what other people are going to think about them. That's why you broke. That's why you ain't got nobody that's tapping in to see what you got to say. That's why nobody cares about you, because you are not somebody that they're looking to have a conversation about or with. And so with these women, even though they are super left liberal leaning women, they have branded themselves as the anti-cult club. That's the name of the channel. And so regardless of whether or not their views are super liberal, they don't mind calling out the people that are the Democrats like Cory Booker that come on their platform. And to be honest with you, they're right. Trump has no problem whatsoever with going off on people within his own party. We've seen that time and time again, as recently as when they were trying to do the whole big, beautiful bill. And he was calling out the people that was on the right as rhinos. And he said, y'all Republican in names only, and y'all going to lose if y'all don't get on board and start to figure out how it is that we can work together. You're going to lose. You're going to lose. Let's continue.
And corporate.
And she told him, she said, bull S straight to his face.
Interests, or were we really the party of the working class? And that's what I think the message is.
Two things I'll say. First of all, if everybody in your coalition agrees with you on everything, your coalition's not big enough. If
it's a cult.
If we don't have disagreements, then we're talking in an echo chamber. Thank God I sit in a caucus with people. I couldn't win in some of my colleague states, perhaps, but we have lots of different agreements, but we are united in the fight against Trump. And I'll say number two, which is really important, is that, we feel the existential urgency. And even though we don't agree on everything, I'm in the trenches with some of the best fighters I have. From veterans like Mark Kelly and Tammy Duckworth, who have, I know Mark's voted on some people I didn't vote for. So we may not be absolutist, but the fighters that I'm in the trench with right now, the sacrifices that they're making for this fight is pretty tremendous. So I have disagreements with a lot of people. Look, I'm one of a handful of people that don't take corporate PAC money. I don't understand my Democratic
What
Party.
about AIPAC money? You take AIPAC money, don't you?
A minuscule percentage of my resources come from
I read it's like 800,000.
Yeah, but that's a lifetime number of raising tens of millions of dollars. Let me give you the right stat. The majority of my money comes from small dollar contributions. My last report, I think 76% of it came from people that gave $25 or less. So this to me is about, again, we could pick at each other, or we could do what we need to be doing right now, is joining in a chorus of conviction to condemn it. And again, I'm a child of civil rights activists. You think Malcolm X and Martin Luther King agreed on everything? No. Do you think Fred Shuttle, in fact, Ella Baker had lots of criticisms about King. But when it came to the fight.
Y'all notice how he's trying to skip right over that?
They joined together and created a movement that was successful. And that's really what my focus is. And as the only person in the caucus that lives in a low-income Black and brown neighborhood below the poverty line. I still remember when some progressives from the suburbs came down to protest me, and they were literally chased away by my neighbors, because we are in an urgency every day. I see it We are in an urgency where real people are getting hurt. When I go up and down in New Jersey, they don't care about the fact that I took 1% of my money from some group. They care about, what are you doing to restore my health care? What are you doing to fight for my fact that I can't make rent? And in my caucus right now, we're standing up and fighting for those things and not capitulating, as you said, to Donald Trump's attempts to deny 22 million Americans health care, to see healthcare costs double for lots of them.
Well, I think the base feels like right now, and I know that you're in the Beltway, but I think the Democratic base feels like there is a disconnect. Like, we hear you, like when you did your 25-hour speech, I was like, go, Cory. I love this. That is amazing. And then there's a photo shoot with you with Benjamin Netanyahu. And I was.
So she basically calling him out. Let me stop on that one point about the $800,000 that they just skipped over. And I'm not sure if they came back to it or not. And he did. He deflected his butt off. And usually what they do, especially politicians, when it's a question, and they've been taught this, they're trained to do this. Usually what they do when there's a question that might or might not tap into a nervous system, and then you got to start explaining, why are you $800K deep? Why are you $800K deep? Why did you take, why is $800,000? Because he tried to slip it in and tried to make it seem like he was better than his cohorts. Hey, I'm the only person that don't take PAC money. You know, I don't understand exactly why my colleagues even take any PAC money. It's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. And then she was like, well, but you took $800,000 AIPAC money. I mean, but it's such a small amount compared to all of the rest of the amount of money that we get. I mean, 70% of all money that we get is small donations, $25 or more. So we just going to skip over to 800,000. Why did they give you 800,000? What I've learned, because I will admit, I am a hefty contributor to seeing who I want to get in locally in office, and a lot of times, or, you know, whoever it is running for city council or whatever, I absolutely will make sure that I contribute. And then I will make sure that, because we all need to be doing that. We need to be having that more of a conversation about how we're ensuring that our interests are being met. And one thing that I know for sure, and two things is for certain, is that you don't get that type of money unless you actually either really want them to get in for your best interest, because we're not talking about a little bit of money. In the grand scheme of things, is $800,000 a lot of money from an AIPAC? Probably not, compared to what they contribute overall. But $800,000 is still a lot of money to give to one candidate, especially over a long period of time, to ensure that they stay in power. The question that you have to ask yourself is why. It's because it's a special interest that they represent, that they want you to pay attention to and to vote or fight for, to ensure that they are not losing out on money or losing out on opportunity, or they got something big coming up and they want you to play your part. And this is what else I've learned during the political seasons over the period of time. You want to know what else I've learned? Is that $800,000 is divvied up amongst a bunch of different people that they want to vote a certain way, or that they want to bring forth in budget talks or whatever it is, a legislation or whatever, ensure that this is in, and so on and so forth. And so they don't just give it to one person. Hey, we're going to give it to you, Cory, and you good because you was a presidential candidate and we know that you always going to stay in office, right? They don't just give it to one person. They split it up. Okay, we got $20 million and we need to allocate this. So we're going to give 800 to Cory. We're going to get this to this person. We're going to get this to this person. And we're going to get this to this person. The question that we have to ask ourselves is, what do they want? What do they want? Now, a politician is going to spin it and say, well, listen, I was already going to do this or whatever. And they, it doesn't hurt and this and that, so on and so forth. But see, what is it that you're trying to do? What room can you make a phone call? That's what it really comes down to. Facts, Matthew Crawford. That's what it really comes down to. Do you know what donation money is? Do you know what the play is? It's a couple different plays. A, I'm lobbying. B, I want you to represent my special interests. And C, I'm going to need to make a phone call just in case I need to make a phone call. Facts, Azriel. Nothing is free. I'm going to need to have your phone number, and can I get in touch with you when I need to get in touch with you? Can I get in touch with you when I need to get in touch with you? If all hell breaks loose, can I make a phone call? Did that buy me that phone call? Trust me. It ain't nothing better than having a good old politician in your back pocket. Y'all networking wrong. I promise to God you networking wrong. I promise you you're networking wrong. You think networking is about being in the movers and the shakers and all of this stuff. No, networking is being able to contribute to a campaign to make sure that certain things happen, to ensure that when a favor is called, that you deliver, and you always got that thing in your back pocket. You always got that thing in your back pocket. It's to know who's going to be doing what and to make sure that you got them in your back pocket. If y'all not playing the game that way, this is why they don't care nothing about what you're talking about, bro.
It's just like, what in the actual fuck? Like, how
listen. Trump, before he became president and he ran on the Republican side as a businessman, he contributed to both Republicans and Democrats. Yes, they are tap dancing for donors. He contributed to Republicans and Democrats. And it wasn't no shame in his game. Now, later on, he evolved and he was like, yo, I want to continue to push conservative values, whatever, so on and so forth. And I'm looking at this from a business perspective. But let's be very clear, very, very clear. Contributed to both. I've contributed to politicians since I started getting a lot of money. Probably always will. Probably always will.
Can he do that? It was heartbreaking. I felt betrayed.
Yeah.
And that doesn't just happen in an echo chamber. It's important when there are Democrats like you, where the base, we should make each other better. We need to evolve. And I love that you come on here. We need to have these conversations. It's not a purity test. We want credible messengers.
Matthew Crawford says, my father always taught me to be wary of politicians. They're used car salesmen. Their whole job is to sell the image of not true. Your father taught you wrong. Your father should have told you to get to the point to where you can leverage politicians, not to be wary of them. Your father clearly wasn't a businessman. Your father clearly was not a businessman.
Because when we are down the middle and beholden to corporate interests, then we leave this vacuum, and that's how fascism has flourished. And so for myself and a lot of our listeners, when I saw the picture with Benjamin Netanyahu, I felt like it diminished your 25 hours. That's how it felt to me.
So a few things. One is, I work in the Beltway. I live in the Central Ward in Newark, New Jersey. Streets that a lot of folks tell folks, why would you demean and degrade my communities? I keep a little picture here of the first place I represented in 28 years old, which is a Black community that's struggling. And we've transformed our schools, our supermarkets, new parks, urban farms, and the like. And the wonderful thing about those folks that I serve is that none of them question where I stand and how long, for more than a quarter of a century, have I stood with the people in their neighborhoods. Number two, so I may work in the Beltway, but I know where I came from and I know who got me here. And it's the struggling people that our party
AIPAC money
has done a pretty shitty job for, to be honest with you.
I agree.
Okay, number two, when you say things like Kushner, this and whatever, I remember the people who actually, when the Democratic Party was doing things like passing crime bills that put black people like me, when I was in my 20s and stopped by the police all the time, behind bars, the Democratic Party failed and fueled mass incarceration. And so the people that were there for me 30 years ago, doing prisoner reentry programs, getting people jobs and housing, I'm sorry. People like Kushner, who was there 30 years ago fighting for those fights, I'm not going to forget that they fought for black people when other people seem to be gung-ho with, hold on, you let me finish.
Wait, is this the first CARE Act? What was that act called that you passed?
Well, that was only 10 years ago, the First Step Act.
What was that? Okay, I've read about that. It's really good. Yes, yeah, it's excellent.
And I'm sorry, I have to work across the aisle, and Charlie Kushner was, but for him, it wouldn't have gotten done. So when I go home, people do know people that got out of prison because of the First Step Act, and they knew the bipartisan coalition. Third, I'm sorry, I have real problems with Benjamin Netanyahu. Outrageous things that he's doing. The way you fight for those things is you sit down face to face with somebody and you fight with them. I'm not going to be outside of the room screaming. I want to look him in the eye, like me, Amy Klobuchar, and a whole bunch of other people did, and talk to him about humanitarian aid.
Get the hell out of here, bro. You're not talking to nobody about nothing. Get the hell out of here, bro. This is why I don't. Cory Booker is so fake to me. Cory Booker is so fake to me. Didn't he just get engaged? Because he used to talk to Rosario Dawson, and he got engaged to a chick that looked like Rosario Dawson. Let me see something. You know us, we be start going down a rabbit hole. Let's see what's going on. Cory Booker, fiance. Cory Booker reveals quick wedding plans with fiance Alexis Lewis. Yeah, he got the other Rosario. Damn, she looked just like her on the low, though. Shout out to Cory. Hey, Cory, what is as corny as he talks? So you keep a roster, don't he? Hate on him if you want to. Hate on Cory if you want to.